Matthew 14. At that time, Herod, the governor of Galilee, heard about Jesus. He said to his servants, "This man is John the Baptist, who has been raised from the dead. That is why this man has the power to perform miracles." For Herod had John arrested, tied up, and thrown in prison because of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife. For John the Baptist had often said to Herod, "By our law you are forbidden to marry Herodias." Herod wanted to kill him, but he was afraid of the people because they considered John a prophet. On Herod's birthday, Herodias' daughter danced before everyone, and he loved it so much that he promised her, "I swear I will give you whatever you ask of me." On her mother's advice, she asked, "I want John the Baptist's head on a platter right now." King Herod was sad, but because of the oath he had made in front of the guests, he ordered the girl's request to be granted. He ordered John the Baptist's head to be cut off in the prison. Then they brought his head on a platter and gave it to the girl, who took it to her mother. Then John's disciples came, took his body, and buried it. Then they went and told Jesus. When Jesus heard what had happened, he left in a boat and went off to a solitary place by himself. But the crowds, hearing where he was, came from their villages and followed him on land. When Jesus got out of the boat and saw the large crowd, he had compassion for them and healed the sick who were there. When evening came, the disciples came to Jesus and said, "It is already late, and this is a deserted place. Send these people away so they can go to the villages and buy something to eat." But Jesus replied, "They don't need to go away. You give them something to eat." They said, "We only have 5 loaves and 2 fish here." "Then bring them to me," Jesus said. Then he told the people to sit down on the grass. Then he took the 5 loaves and 2 fish, looked up to heaven, and gave thanks to God. He broke the loaves and gave them to the disciples, who distributed them to the people. Everyone ate and was satisfied, and the disciples picked up 12 baskets full of the broken pieces that were left over. Those who ate were about 5,000 men, not counting women and children. Immediately afterward, Jesus ordered the disciples to get into the boat and go ahead of him to the other side of the lake while he sent the people away. After sending the people away, Jesus went up a mountainside by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone. By that time the boat was already in the middle of the lake, and the waves were beating violently against it because the wind was against it. In the early morning, between 3 and 6 o'clock, Jesus came there walking on the water. When the disciples saw Jesus walking on the water, they were terrified and exclaimed, "It's a ghost!" And they cried out in fear. At that moment Jesus said, "Take courage! It is I. Don't be afraid." Then Peter said, "If it is really you, tell me to come to you on the water." "Come," Jesus replied. Peter got out of the boat and began walking on the water toward Jesus. But when he felt the strong wind, he became afraid and began to sink. Then he cried out, "Help, Lord!" Immediately, Jesus reached out his hand and caught Peter. He said, "How little faith you have! Why did you doubt?" Then they both got into the boat, and the wind died down. And the disciples worshipped Jesus, saying, "Truly you are the Son of God." Jesus and his disciples crossed the lake and arrived in the region of Gennesaret. There, the people recognized Jesus and informed all the sick people in the surrounding area. Many people then brought sick people to him, asking him to let them just touch the hem of his cloak. And all who touched it were healed. Matthew 15. Then some Pharisees and teachers of the law came from Jerusalem to Jesus and asked him, "Why do your disciples eat with unwashed hands, thus disobeying the teachings we received from the ancients?" Jesus answered, "And why do you disobey God's command and follow your own teachings? For God said, 'Honor your father and mother.' And he also said, 'Let anyone who curses their father or mother be put to death.' But you teach that if someone has something they could use to help their parents out of respect, but says, 'I dedicated this to God,' then they don't need to help their parents. So you disregard God's message to follow your own teachings. Hypocrites! Isaiah was right when he said this about you. God said, 'These people with their mouths profess to fear me, but in truth their hearts are far from me. Their worship is useless, for they teach human laws as if they were my commandments.'" Jesus called the crowd and said, "Listen and understand. It is not what goes into the mouth that defiles someone. Rather, it is what comes out of the mouth that can defile a person." Then the disciples came to him and said, Do you know that the Pharisees were scandalized by what you said?" Jesus answered, "Every plant that my Father in heaven did not plant will be uprooted. Don't worry about the Pharisees. They are blind guides. And when one blind person leads another, both end up falling into a pit." Then Peter asked, "Explain to us what you said before." Jesus said, "Do you still not understand? What enters the mouth goes into the stomach and then leaves the body. But what comes out of the mouth comes from the heart. This is what makes a person unclean. For from the heart come evil thoughts, murder, adultery, sexual immorality, theft, lies, and slander. These are the things that make someone unclean. But eating with unwashed hands does not make anyone unclean." Jesus left there and went to the region near the cities of Tyre and Sidon. A Canaanite woman who lived in that region came to him and cried out, "Lord, Son of David, have mercy on me. My daughter is terribly possessed by a demon." But Jesus did not answer. Then the disciples came to him and said, "Send this woman away, for she is coming after us with a lot of noise." Jesus answered, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of the people of Israel." Then she came, knelt at his feet, and said, "Lord, help me." Jesus said, "It is not right to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs." "Yes, sir," the woman replied, "but even the little dogs eat the crumbs that fall under their master's table." "Woman, you have great faith," Jesus said. "May it be done for you." And at that moment her daughter was healed. Jesus left there and went to the Sea of Galilee. Then he went up on a mountainside and sat down there. And great crowds came to Jesus, bringing people who were lame, crippled, blind, mute, and many others, and they laid them at his feet. And he healed them all. The people were amazed when they saw that the mute spoke, the crippled were healed, the lame walked, and the blind could see. And all the people praised the God of Israel. Jesus called his disciples and said, "I feel sorry for these people because they have been with me for 3 days and have nothing to eat. I don't want to send them away hungry, or they might collapse on the way." The disciples asked, "How can we find enough food for all these people in this deserted place?" "How many loaves do you have?" Jesus asked. 7 loaves and a few small fish," they replied. Then Jesus told the people to sit down on the ground. Then he took the 7 loaves and the fish and gave thanks to God. Then he broke them and gave them to the disciples, who distributed them to the people. Everyone ate and was satisfied, and the disciples also filled 7 baskets with the broken pieces that were left over. Those who ate were 4,000 men, besides the women and children. Then Jesus sent the people away, got into the boat, and went to the region of Magadan.